we have an amazing speaker coming up next. He's coming from the Moonbeam Network, which congratulations to that whole team. They won the second Parachain slot auctions on the Polkadot crowd loan. And his name is Alberto Viera. So interesting story. Alberto and Moonbeam actually was one of the first blockchain projects outside of ChainSafe that I actually interacted and interfaced with when I started at ChainSafe in January. So now I'm introducing Moonbeam back and everything's coming full circle a little bit. I just find that kind of cool. But Alberto is a mechanical engineer with a PhD in internal combustion engines research. So you might ask yourself, what is this guy doing here? Well, Alberto has been passionate about blockchain technology for around 7 years now. And as Harvey Mackay popularized, quote, "Find a job you enjoy doing and you will never have to work a day in your life," end quote. That's from Alberto. I thought that was very cute. His topic is going to be about Moonbeam, bootstrapping an interoperable and Ethereum compatible ecosystem. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce and give Alberto the stage.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, it's really exciting about what's going on right now in the Polkadot ecosystem, and thanks a lot for the ChainSafe team for inviting us to the CSCON1. So as Tim mentioned, I'm Alberto. I am Developer Relations Manager at PureStake, and yeah, let me share my screen so I can get started with today's presentation. All right. So I do see my screen shared. So yeah, we're going to talk today about this is a similar topic that what I presented at CSCON1, and it's basically the project that we've worked on for almost 2 years now, and it's called Moonbeam, and it's part of the Polkadot ecosystem. And everything I present here today is also applicable to our deployment on Kusama, which is called Moonriver. And the talk, like Tim mentioned, it's bootstrapping an interoperable Ethereum compatible ecosystem, and we'll discuss briefly like what we have learned about our roadmap to where we are today. So, if you want to check the slides, I created a Bitly link. It's super simple. It's Moon CSCON1. So if you visit that link, you should be able to see the slides in your house. So session structure, I do like self-contained presentations, so I'm not going to explain like blockchain as a whole, but I do like to set the stage a little bit to present Moonbeam. So I have a 1-slide introduction to Polkadot that it's not going to give you like a master's in Polkadot or anything, but it's like super brief to set the stage so we can set the ground for Moonbeam itself. And then we're going to discuss about Moonbeam for sure, what it's Moonbeam, Ethereum compatibility, and so on. I do like the meme that I have in my right-hand side of the screen. It's a meme that shows a little bit, that Moonbeam brings Ethereum and Polkadot closer together without being a bridge like ChainBridge, for example, right? So it's a protocol, not a bridge. I guess the first question we have to ask is, what is Polkadot? And as a reminder, this is very simple, very high level. This is not meant to be like, a definite explanation about Polkadot itself. But, the main Polkadot idea is that there is a specialization and connectivity, right? So those are the two terms that basically drive the Polkadot idea. And the main motto is that there is no one blockchain to rule them all, but there are like many best blockchains out there that they can specialize in something and that they do very well, right? So Polkadot architecture is quite unique, and it has sort of like the relay chain, which is Polkadot itself. And remember that this is applicable as well to Kusama, that it's called like a layer 0 consensus. And in this layer 0 consensus, you can actually connect other blockchains to it, right? And so Polkadot provides this connectivity and provides shared security to these blockchains that are specialized in something. And so there are two main benefits of this, is that these blockchains don't have to worry about security guarantees for like block finalization. Those are provided by Polkadot. And also that, because this sort of module, Polkadot can relay messages, generic messages via like a standard format called XCM, can relay these messages between these specialized blockchains. And so you have like a bridge that is trustless because it is implemented at a native protocol level. And so the other elements of this map here that I'm presenting on the right hand side, it is the parachains. So parachains is a term for parallel chains or parallel blockchains, and these are these specialized blockchains that provide a specific functionality to the whole ecosystem. So you will see parachains that are specialized in privacy, decentralized storage, identity, oracles, bridges, and then you also have Moonbeam being one of these specialized parachains. And I do see some friendly faces and names in the chat, so it's nice to see you guys here. So I guess the next question is what is Moonbeam, right? And we discussed about Polkadot, we discussed about these specialized parachains, and what is Moonbeam? So Moonbeam, it's a parachain on Polkadot. There's no really mind-blowing definition there, but it is specialized in smart contracts. Okay, so Polkadot itself does not offer smart contract functionalities, and it leaves this sort of like core element of the ecosystem to these parachains. Moonbeam is built with Substrate, so it is quite unique because it's what allows us to be connected to Polkadot. And Substrate is this sort of like blockchain development framework that it makes it very easy to build blockchains that can connect to Polkadot or Kusama. So it is basically the way to go if you want to build on the top of the Polkadot ecosystem. But unlike other parachains, Moonbeam it's completely focused in Ethereum compatible in providing an Ethereum compatible environment. So similar to Polygon, to BSC, and other Ethereum compatible chains out there. Basically, our main focus, and we have made sacrifices for the good and the bad, is to provide the most frictionless Ethereum environment out there. So if you go to my right-hand side of the screen, we are just not like an EVM implementation, like a lot of blockchains out there in the ecosystem and outside of Polkadot and Kusama. But we have added layers on top of this EVM implementation to add this sort of added value and to reduce the friction for developers and users on using Moonbeam as an Ethereum compatible environment. So you have like a fully compatible Web3 RPC with advanced features like tracing and like a pub sub, so you can register to event subscriptions and so on. We have modified the underlying account system of Substrate and for instance, and consequently Polkadot, let's say, so that it uses Ethereum-like accounts. So that's why in Moonbeam, you do everything regarding not only Ethereum smart contract deployments and interactions, but you also do staking and governance and everything with Ethereum-styled accounts and keys, which is something truly unique. And we've also done a lot of work from the business development department to developer relations and onboarding around developer tool integrations. So for us, it's truly important that developers have all the tools that they know and love from Ethereum, such as MetaMask, Truffle, Hardhat, Ether.js, Web3 JavaScript. All those tools, they have them available, so that they don't have to learn anything new. They can just use the same tools that they have used in the past, on Moonbeam. So because of these reasons, we truly think that we're the easiest on-ramp to Polkadot, because you can port dApps with node code changes. And I'll show you a little a sneak peek about a dApp that we ported as an example to our testnet. And so if you're a project that wants to go multi-chain and tap into the Polkadot ecosystem, probably Moonbeam is the way to go. So before we continue, I just wanted to stop really quickly and to do a demo. So I know it's weird that we're not doing a demo at the end of the presentation, but I'd like to switch gears a little bit here. And so the demo that I'm going to show you, it's how easy it is to interact with Moonbeam, basically. All right. So I have MetaMask. You're probably familiar with MetaMask, good old wallet here. And I've connected MetaMask to our testnet, which is Moonbase Alpha. If you want to connect MetaMask to our testnet, there's like a one-click solution for that. If you go to our documentation website, you can click here, this big button that says Connect MetaMask, and you can then choose the network you want to connect to. So Moonriver is our implementation in Kusama that it's already live, and Moonbase Alpha is our testnet. So I have already an account with some funds. This is a testnet token that has no value, and as you would expect on any sort of like Ethereum network, Ethereum-like network, you can transfer these funds to other accounts and so on. That's not truly that exciting, right? But because we have MetaMask connected to our testnet, we can do some more interesting stuff, right? So this is Remix. You've probably used Remix before, but if you haven't, it's like an online compiler and deployment tool for Ethereum smart contracts, in this case, Solidity. And so what I've done here is that I set up an ERC20 smart contract for a token, an ERC20 token called CSCON1, CSE1 is a ticker. And basically what I used to build this ERC20 is the Open Separating Contracts wizard. So, you can select the token that you want, the name, the symbol, the amount of tokens you want to have as a pre-mint, and just copy this code to Remix. And it's truly that simple. And so what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to deploy this smart contract. And when I click the deploy button, what's going to happen is that, as it would be on, Kovan or Gurley or Brinkaby or any Ethereum testnet or mainnet, you'll have a MetaMask pop-up saying, hey, this is a transaction you want to sign. I'm going to suggest a higher gas price, so my transaction gets prioritized. And so I'm going to confirm. And we're just pending for the contract deployment as you would in any smart contract blockchain probably. So I'm gonna to take advantage of this pause right here. What I'm gonna I want to mention is that everything we've done now is very Ethereum-like. You don't really have to think, am I actually building against a different technology stack, right? And that's the Moonbeam idea, right? It's that you can use the same tools that you've used in the past and just point them to a different network, and that's it. So I do have my ERC20 token, as you can see down here. I have the name, CSCON1, you have the symbol, and so on. But what I can do now is I can copy this ERC20 smart contract address, and I can add it to my MetaMask, right? As you can see, I have 1,000 CSC1s. And if you have an Ethereum address, I can send you some CSC1 tokens and so on. You have to connect to Moonbase Alpha for sure. More interestingly, remember that I told you that we have you can port your DApp without any code changes. So to showcase our truly unique Ethereum compatibility features, we actually ported a Uniswap v2 clone, and we did some changes to the Uniswap v2 legacy interface, so it worked with our testnet. So you can see here that I have called Moonbeam Swap. This is nothing official or anything. Basically, a Uniswap v2 like interface. And I connected my MetaMask account to it, and you can also use Wallet Connect. And what I have here is that I have a regular DEX where I can just swap. Let's say I want to swap Dev tokens for Jupyter tokens, which is like an ERC20 that we have in our testnet, right? So if I do this, you can see that I can swap. Oh, actually, I'm adding liquidity. So in this case, I would have to do 0.01. And I can just put Jupyter, and you can see that I can swap some Dev tokens for some Jupyter tokens. More interestingly, what I can do is that I can add liquidity, for example, for that ERC20 token that I created, right? So I can add, I don't know, let's let 10 Dev tokens, and I can go ahead and paste my ERC20 token address here. As you can see that it pops up down here, and then I can just say, hey, I want to add 500 CSC1 tokens. Of course, I have to approve it. So when you click approve, as you would expect, nothing weird goes on, and I can just go ahead and confirm this transaction. And while this approves, gets executed, I want to show you some other DApps that we build just to make it easy for people to interact with our testnet. So we have an ERC20 faucet that is pretty cool because there are tokens named for each planet, for each of the 8 planets plus Pluto, because we even put a link here why Pluto is not considered a planet anymore. And so basically you can connect MetaMask to this interface, and you can mint 100 of each of these tokens per hour. And these are like common good tokens, right? So if you have a project and you want to use like an ERC20 that anyone can mint and use in your project, you can use this faucet. Another really cool dApp that we built is, Pluto is not a planet anymore, I'm sorry. So another cool dApp that we have, and actually this is super exciting because today, 30 minutes before this presentation, we announced that Chainlink Oracle's price feeds are available on Moonriver. And this is like the first Chainlink implementation with it in our testnet. So this is like a price feed, as an example, Chainlink price feeds on our testnet. You can see here, this was updated, a few hours, an hour ago or so. And this is just to showcase, our Ethereum compatibility features by bringing Chainlink to our testnet. And we also have a lottery here, and this lottery, it's to showcase the graph, because this table down here is built by the index database that we have with a subgraph on top of the smart contract. All right, but enough jibber jabber, and we can see that I can add liquidity to my Uniswap V2 style pool. Once again, nothing fancy. I can just approve the transaction as you would expect. By the way, this looks just weird because I have like a lot of zoom in this. Just for you guys so you can see it. But I guess you understand the point, right? The point of this is that you have a fully compatible Ethereum experience, and you don't even have to think as a developer, as a user, what is the network you're interacting with, and that's the experience we want to provide to developers and users. So we can go back to the presentation. I did left the links of all the dApps that I used here in the slides in case you want to play around. We do provide the open source code for like this dApps if you think they're interesting and you want to check them out. Anyways. All right, but let's go back to the presentation and the main topic of this presentation. It's about bootstrapping and interoperable Ethereum compatible ecosystem. And we're going to get a little bit, we're going to think a little bit about what this means here in this slide. So early on when we started building Moonbeam, we kind of realized that you don't really make an interoperable ecosystem that it's Ethereum compatible if you don't actually have the same sort of like Ethereum composability that Ethereum offers in its blockchain, right? And I think personally, this is one of the most beautiful things that a smart contract blockchain can offer, right? Is that projects can depend on each other and they can create better products or they can create better features or more features by interacting with each other. And so this is composability basically, And so one of the things that we realized is that we wanted to have a DEX, for example, working on Moonbeam. And so when we reach out to a DEX at Sushi, they said, yeah, but if you want us to build on Moonbeam, we need the graph or we need an indexer solution. So we had to go and speak with the graph and Covalent, for example, and work with them so they can integrate their solution on Moonbeam. And so then, Sushi said, oh, yeah, but we need a block explorer that, has advanced features so we can, check some stuff out, verify the contracts and so on. So, we reached out to Etherscan and we managed to get, Etherscan deployed on Moonbase Alpha and Moonriver. And so this is what we meant about, having an Ethereum compatible chain is one thing, but having or bootstrapping a truly Ethereum compatible ecosystem that it's interoperable, it's another like different ball game basically. It's truly a different thing. And so we had the same problem with like Gnosis multisig. So we had projects saying we need a multisig solution on Moonriver. So we approached the Gnosis team and we did a friendly fork of their solution, and we have it running in our test and Moonriver. The same with Ching that we announced today, Band Protocol, and all these development integrations. So this creates a sort of like a platform that has all these tools for projects to build on top of. But not only that, when you create this sort of like developer-friendly platform, you have this sort of like stuff where you have, a DEX needs or doesn't need, but it can benefit from a lending platform. Then you have also stable coins and you have derivatives platform. And so they can actually work together like they do on Ethereum, but outside of the Ethereum scope. And they can all benefit that they can tap into the Polkadot ecosystem via Moonbeam. And so, this is what we think of the future, right? It's like a native multi-chain future that we can, basically offer like composed decentralized services, right? So Moonbeam can be the gateway for your dApp to access into the Polkadot ecosystem, and where you can have, for example, via Moonbeam, you can access decentralized storage, or you can access other Oracle solutions that they'll have their own specialized blockchains, or you can even tap into the Polkadot ecosystem itself. And we're really excited because we are, on the final stages of testing XCM, which is XCMP or whatever, the protocol that will help us communicate with other parachains. And we have, for example, Lido, one of our partners, announced, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, that they have the first successful integration of, having sort of like a derivative version of the staked DOT or whatever into Moonbeam as a derivative. So that's actually truly exciting, and it's one of the first like real uses of this intercommunication protocol operating on Moonbeam. So we're really excited about what the future holds for these sort of implementations. So who is building on Moonbeam? Like I mentioned before, composability for us was key for bootstrapping interoperable ecosystem. And our business development team worked tirelessly to bring a bunch of projects to build on Moonbeam. We have, different node operators, APIs and infrastructure providers, oracles, bridges, explorers, wallets, NFT projects are going crazy on Moonriver, which is exciting to see. We have worked a lot to make sure that all the development tools that developers need and want, they work on our testbed and our solutions. A lot of DeFi activities going on in Moonriver, and it's truly exciting to see that the network is only 3 months old, and we already have around $350 million in TVL, which is truly amazing. A lot of dApps have been built on Moonbeam, and we also have assets in issuance. So it's not only, like I mentioned before, just having an Ethereum compatible platform. Is what projects are going to deploy to that Ethereum compatible platform, and this shows you that the model that we thought of, it truly makes sense for a lot of these projects. And Polkadot ecosystem and Kusama ecosystems are very exciting ecosystems to be part of, and we truly want to be your deployment partner to these two ecosystems. One thing that we've put a lot of efforts and resources into is this developer relations, as the team that I'm part of. And I think this is one thing that probably sets us apart, is that we truly work closely with these projects and help them onboard to Moonbeam. Because for us, there is no better way of providing a frictionless Ethereum environment than with the feedback that we get from these projects, right? So I remember, for example, when we were integrating, I think what's what we did, the chain. Can you guys hear me? I guess. Yeah. Hey, Tim.
Okay, you're back on.
Oh, yeah, no worries. Yeah, so basically when we were doing some implementations, I think it was with ChainSafe, we had to do some modifications in our Ethereum compatibility layer to make sure that ChainSafe worked correctly. So for us, these integrations are the most important ones, because it truly provides the feedback that we need to be the most frictionless Ethereum environment out there. We're going to touch base really quickly on how we can provide this Ethereum compatibility, even though we're built on a different technology stack. And in order to do so, let's rewind a little bit and understand at a very high level how an Ethereum user or developer interacts with an Ethereum node. This is not low level. This is going to be very high level. So when a user using MetaMask or a developer using Remix, Hardhat, Truffle, or whatever tool, it's writing code or interacting with the dApp, what's going on is that these dApps or tools provide like a nice layer on top of what's called the Ethereum JSON RPC. So for example, when MetaMask wants to know or get the balance of a user's address, what it's going to do is that it's going to ask an Ethereum node via this Ethereum JSON RPC, hey, what is Alice's balance, right? And because the Ethereum node understands this sort of format, it's able to fetch that information and return a response that then this tool can understand and can interpret, right? It can basically understand and display whatever information it was required. So this is basically at a very high level how Ethereum works, not on the low level, but at how the Ethereum interaction works between an Ethereum user and an Ethereum developer. What's going on with Moonbeam is that Moonbeam uses Frontier, which is basically a middleware between this Web3 RPC or this Ethereum JSON RPC interactions and Substrate, which, remember, is like the technology stack that we build our blockchain on. So when you have these tools or these Ethereum JSON RPCs calls made to a Moonbeam node, what's going to happen is that Frontier is gonna fetch this sort of, it's going to understand this calls or these requests, but it's going to translate them to something that Substrate understands. So I like to think of it like a translator, basically. And it's going to map this sort of like calls to Substrate runtime calls. Them being, reading from a smart contract or actually interacting with the EVM. Another element called Pallet Ethereum is what, let's say, emulates Ethereum blocks inside our blocks. And so you have sort of this like way of accessing Ethereum storage, and I'm air quoting myself. And so, this is a way that these two things interact with each other, so you can actually emulate sort of like an Ethereum experience on top of a Moonbeam node. Then you also have the Pallet EVM, which is another component of our Ethereum compatibility, which is the access layer between our Substrate-based chain and our EVM implementation, well, not ours, but the EVM implementation in Rust that we use. And so basically what happens is that, let's say a JSON RPC request, wants to interact with a smart contract, wants to do some operations, all these elements are going to end up, feeding this information to the Rust EVM, and it's going to have an outcome. So, this Frontier project was initially started by Parity, but we've probably been the most active team in developing it, because for us, it's like a core element of what we offer as a solution, right? So this is a lot of technical jibber jabber. What does this mean in practical terms? Well, first of all, it means that you'll have an Ethereum experience that you're not even realizing that you don't even have to realize that you're working with a different technology stack. As we saw in our demos, we had a Uniswap E2 clone, we deployed a smart contract, we interacted with an ERC20 token, and so on. But at a more practical level, what it means is that when these tools, they do this JSON RPC request as the one we see here on the screen. So this is a typical JSON RPC request from MetaMask when it wants to fetch the balance of an Ethereum account that it holds in its wallet, right? So this is basically ETH get balance, and it is passing the parameter, which is the address of that MetaMask wallet. And it's basically telling, give me the latest balance that you have. And so the Moonbeam node will respond what MetaMask expects, which is basically the balance in the hexadecimal number. And MetaMask will transform the hexadecimal number into decimal and will account for the 18 zeros. And then it will display the balance as it would on Ethereum or BSC or any other chain, right? It is basically that, but you can expand that to interacting with smart contracts. You can expand that to using other tools such as fetching events and so on. So that's the core functionality of how it works. And so this is what I mean when I say that Ethereum developers don't really need to worry about what's going on the back. There are certain differences and nuances that we cover them in our documentation side, but mainly the experience is one-to-one. And Tim mentioned that I'm a mechanical engineer, and when I was learning about how Moonbeam works, for me this was like mind-blowing, because it is honestly it's super simple to understand when you explain it this way, and it shows you that we provide basically the same Ethereum functionality as you would expect. So thanks a lot for tuning in for this presentation. Thanks a lot for the ChainSafe team for inviting us today. We want to talk to you if you're a project that is exploring a multi-chain strategy, or you want an easy way to build on Polkadot, because we provide probably the easiest way to do that. Please reach out to us. We would love to talk to you. We have an amazing business development team that will help you get in touch with our developer relations team. We will offer all the tech support you need to start building on Moonbeam. You can visit our website. You can visit our Twitter, Telegram, Discord. We have a very active community that will help you on board for sure. So yeah, thanks a lot.
Amazing, Alberto. Thank you so much. What Moonbeam is building is super exciting for Polkadot and for Ethereum. And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing more progress from your team. Yeah, thank you for your presentation. We have some questions from the audience. One question, so I will read it out to you. This is from S with 3 upvotes. How much customization? How much customization? I feel like I'm like a talk show game host, asking some question. Anyways, 4 upvotes now. How much customization is required to onboard projects from Ethereum? What would it take for projects to onboard on Moonbeam and interoperate with Polkadot projects automatically?
It got 9 upvotes now, so yeah, it's exciting to see that people thought it was interesting. It's an amazing question, honestly, and it's sort of like difficult to answer because they're like new concepts here, right? So it is one-to-one with Ethereum, but at the end of the day, there are new concepts that Ethereum developers need to grasp, right? Just to give a quick example, for example, in Ethereum you have deterministic finality, right? Meaning that you have to wait X amount of blocks to say a transaction is final. That concept doesn't exist on Moonbeam. On Moonbeam you have sorry, I said deterministic. It's actually probabilistic finality on Ethereum, right? In Moonbeam you have deterministic finality. So once a block is marked as final, and this is something that Polkadot provides, once a block is marked as final, it is final. There's no way of going back, right? So, there are certain concepts that even though we provide a frictionless Ethereum environment, there are certain concepts that developers need to, understand. And our documentation side, offers like a section of how to do that. But either way, we always keep the Ethereum developers in our mind when we're developing sort of these outside of Ethereum sort of like tools, right? So for example, we have staking. Like our protocol is proof of stake, and we have staking, and that it's something that is unique of not unique, but it's something that it's Substrate, right? It's Polkadot. It's not something that Ethereum has right now. So what we did to make sure that Ethereum developers have some sort of like a way to access this the most Ethereum way is to have a precompiled contract that it's in an Ethereum address, like Ethereum style address, with an interface where you can access these sort of like Substrate special functions via the Ethereum API. So, depending on what you're doing, you might need to change a little bit your contracts depending on what you want to do, right? For example, in the Uniswap v2 example, we did no changes at all to the smart contracts. You only have to change one thing, but it's like I don't remember right what's called right now. It's like the hash, the compiled code hash or something like that. But it's how the Uniswap v2 deployment works. Like for example, SushiSwap has a different parameter than Uniswap v2. Besides that, most of the changes actually happen on the front end, and it was a lot of like stuff that had to change on the front end. But at the smart contract level, nothing had to change. To make a project interoperate with Polkadot, that is also like a very good part of the question, because this is what we're working on right now, and this is what I'm actually learning. It's a very complex feature, so we're trying to make it as simple as possible for Ethereum developers. And like I mentioned before, we're actually offering a precompiled contract, so you can actually access this sort of like interoperability functions via the Ethereum API. And we want to do a good job in terms of documentation. So sort of these features that seem unique and developers might want to explore but might be afraid to do so because they're not really like easy features that come from Ethereum. They have the right documentation so they can use it in their project. So it's a tough question, but I think it was a good one.
For that. And yeah, the demo was actually really cool to see like the Uniswap and Chainlink and
Yeah, definitely.
all that stuff. Next question from Redwan with 3 upvotes. With the recent auction slot 1, congratulations.
Thanks.
When do you expect to be in production?
Yeah, so something, I don't know if you follow the Kusama ecosystem and you follow the Polkadot ecosystem, but on Kusama, it was a little bit different because when a project won the auction, it was onboarded, like I think it was a week after or something like that, right? I mean, or the onboarding started immediately. I don't really remember. But on Polkadot, it's going to be a little bit different. On Polkadot, the first 5 auctions, the first 5 parachains are going to be onboarded the same day, which is December the 17th, plus minus 1 day, depending where you are in the world. So all these first 5 projects, Moonbeam being one of them, is going to be onboarded on December the 17th. But then, we have laid down sort of like a roadmap of our way to decentralization, let's say, where we're going to do sort of like a phased launch, right? We don't want to like say on day 1, there you go, the network's out, you go ahead and start, making a mess out of the network. We want to make sure that the network is stable, our connection with Polkadot is stable, and we're going to do like a rollout, a phased rollout of features, right? So I think we hope to have features, all features enabled in 1 or 2 months. It will really depend on how stable everything is. We expect to be a lot faster than in Kusama because Kusama ends up being like a canary network where you can sort of like test this stuff. And so we're going to have a faster rollout compared to Kusama. So hopefully we'll have the fully network launch with the EVM and all these features, early next year. So
there you have it, folks. Early next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to say a time, right? I mean, because if I say a date, it's just like shooting myself on the foot. But just stick around with, in our Twitter and our the communities to make sure that you get a specific date once it's public. So
That's right. It's on developer timelines. So
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I hope you definitely stay in the blockchain industry. Don't go back to mechanical engineering, although I'm sure
Never.
you'll be massively successful at it too. One more question from the audience. Are you thinking about deploying your project in any other blockchain other than Polkadot?
Well, I mean, one of the things that happens here is that because we're built with Substrate, we're very limited, I would say, or like very linked to the whole sort of like Polkadot and Kusama ecosystems, right? So we do have a deployment on Kusama called Moonriver that is already like 3 months old now, and we have Moonbeam, which is our deployment to Polkadot. Besides that, unless something comes up that is sort of like built with a different, like same technology stack, I do think that it's not going to be something that we see in the near future. So,
and then one more with one upvote. What is the use of the Moonriver token? Is it for governance?
Well, the mover token, which is a token for Moonriver, and then we'll have the Glimmer token, which is a token for Moonbeam. It is sort of like an expanded utility token, right? So remember that because we offer Ethereum features, there needs to be sort of like a gas token where you pay for execution, EVM execution. And so, EVM execution will be paid with Mover or Glimmer, depending on the network. Well, is paid with Mover on Moonriver and will be paid with Glimmer on Moonbeam. And then basically you have other functionalities as well, right? You have like governance, you have staking. You will be able to move this token around inside the Polkadot ecosystem. So it's not only like a gas token. It has more features on top. So and another question that might come up is regarding gas fees or anything. We will be moving to EIP 1559. So that's an improvement that we, like, our team proposed to the Frontier project, and so we do expect to have EIP 1559. Once again, soon TM.
Thank you so much for your time, Alberto. Appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks a lot for the invitation.